Hello everyone. Today we're going to make sweet potato pie. This is really quick. Now you're going to just need a few simple ingredients. First you're going to need your sweet potatoes. I've already cut mine here. Try to get them to be as close to the same size and width as possible. Okay? And of course on the end you're not going to be able to avoid that. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is add our butter. Now, if you're using 2 very large sweet potatoes, okay, then you're going to have 2 large sweet potatoes, and you're going to have a half a cup of butter, which if you're using the butter in the sticks, you can just stick the stick of butter right here on top, okay? I'm using about 4 large sweet potatoes in this pot, or nice size sweet potatoes in this pot. So I'm going to use about a cup of butter, okay? But typically 2 pretty large sweet potatoes or 3 medium-sized sweet potatoes, and you're going to use about a half a cup of butter, okay? And I'll also put the recipe on my blog. I'm not going to put it in the description because I want you guys to come over to my blog. Okay, as far as sugar, you're not going to use very much sugar, and you'll see why in just a moment. For the sugar that you're going to put in here, you're only going to put in about 1/4 cup of sugar if you're using 2 to 3 nice sized sweet potatoes. You're not using much sugar because we're going to add sweetened condensed milk later, and that's going to make it sweet. You just want enough sugar to bring a little bit of the natural sweetness out of the sweet potato. And in my case, since I'm cooking about 4 large sweet potatoes here, I'm going to use, of course, half cup sugar. And you're using 1/4 a cup of sugar, just as a reminder. Okay? And that's all we're going to add. Now, to this pot, you're going to add just a little bit of water. And if you remember from our sweet potato video, you never put much water in the sweet potato pot. If you don't remember, please go to that link and look at that video. It's very helpful if you've never made sweet potatoes before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of water in here, maybe about a half a cup or so, and then I'll start cooking my sweet potatoes. And you've seen our pie crust video, so you'll already know how to make your pie crust. So this is pretty much just going to be assembly. This video is going to go really quickly. Again, I will put the recipe on the blog in case you need to have it written down. But following along should be really simple, guys. So I'll be right back. For this step, while our potatoes are still cooking, we're going to take a bowl and we're going to put in 3 tablespoons of flour. This is going to go in our pie. And this step is very important. Please don't skip it. And we have our 3 tablespoons of flour. And now it's time for our other spices. The other spices you're going to need are cinnamon, allspice, and ground nutmeg. Okay? You can grind your nutmeg fresh if you want, or you can get the already ground, little McCormick ones. Now for your nutmeg, you're going to need 1 1/4 teaspoon. Okay? And if you're not a fan of nutmeg and it's a very strong spice, then of course feel free to cut back. Sometimes I just grind my nutmeg right into it and don't even measure it. So you'll find there's a lot of forgiveness in this recipe. Okay, now you're also going to need a half a teaspoon of allspice. Okay. Now, we have those ingredients together. We're just going to give those a nice little mix and get it all incorporated really, really well, okay? And I almost forgot here, our cinnamon. Ooh. On the cinnamon, you're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Now, understand you'll probably want to alter this recipe. Most people alter every recipe they run into. I know I do. But try it this way first before you go altering anything, and then see what you need to have more or less of. Because to be truthfully honest, you're not gonna really need to alter anything. The spices are not going to be all that strong, and this recipe doubles really, really well. Okay, so if you need to double it, double it. You're going to be making a whole lot of pies. Okay, so now I'm going to move you over to my mixing bowl. And now in my mixing bowl, I'm going to go ahead and beat 2 eggs. It's time for us to go ahead and start adding our potatoes. Now I do mine in a mixer because I like to beat all the lumps out of the potatoes. Some people really like a few lumps. Okay, and I'm not even a sweet potato pie eater. I just really prefer to have smooth. Really, really smooth pie. And my honey likes it lumpy, but I beat it smooth anyway because I have a reputation to uphold. So do it the way that whoever you're cooking your pie for enjoys it. And if you're doing it for yourself, it's even easier because you only have to please you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get all these sweet potatoes in here. And don't worry if it's not completely cooled. And you're going to get them all mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and mix this much of my potatoes now, because I have a few more to add. I want to go ahead and get that mixed together. And when I come back, I'm going to show you how we add everything. Let's go ahead and go to our sweetened condensed milk. You're going to need one little small 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. You can use the Eagle brand. I really like the Eagle brand, but I mean, the off brands are really no different, to be truthfully honest. Just one of those things where you grow up using one thing, so it turns into, like for instance, when I say Eagle brand, sometimes I go, well, give me the Eagle brand milk instead of getting me this sweetened condensed milk. So it's just one of those things where it just becomes that household name. I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. And you can do this by hand. You don't have to mix it in this manner. Which, I mean, in all honesty, I kind of prefer to mix this by hand this way. And don't worry, I'll clean off the spatula and all that kind of good stuff later. Just want to make sure I'm getting it all incorporated. Okay, so now our last step before we pour our pie into our crust, we're going to go ahead and add the flour and cinnamon mixture. You can add it in intervals or you can add it all at once. Just throw mine in here all at once. And again, either stir by hand or stir with the mixer. If you want it smoother, stir with the mixer. And now our pie crust has come out of the oven. I've already poked holes in it. If you don't know what that means, look at the pie crust video. But I'll be right back once it's time to pour it all together. Okay, it's time for us to go ahead and start to pour our sweet potato pie mixture into our crust. And this is the consistency that you get if you're going to leave a little bit of lumps in there, okay? And like I said, If you don't want lumps, just keep beating that sucker until they're gone. Still going to be smooth either way it goes. But this gives the person a little bit of the sweet potato chunks throughout the pie. And basically this is it. You're going to throw this thing into the oven and let it bake for maybe about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your oven. Bake 350. Wanted to remind you, always, 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 on the pie crust, even if you buy a store-bought pie crust, you're going to want to put it in the pan and poke holes in the bottom. Bake it in the oven for maybe about 5 to 8 to 10 minutes or so it gets almost done. Then take it out, and then you're going to add your filling. The reason why you do this is so that you can make sure that you're serving a completely done pie crust. A pie crust that's done all the way through. Whether it's homemade or not, that's very important. Always do that. I'll post some pictures at the end if you have any questions, or if there's something that you're making for the holidays that you want to talk about. Please leave it in the comment section or email me at timona@timonastips.com. I'd be glad to make a video or email you back. Either way, just let me know. And until then, I'll see you next time.